Are we testing our students too much? The Maryland legislature thinks so, but some on the Board of Education are concerned about the approach. Jim, limiting testing to 2% of instructional time, good idea or not?
You know, I think it's a good idea. And let's be clear here. We're not talking about limiting all testing. We're talking about limiting standardized testing. So any test that a teacher develops for an individual class is fair game, not limited. What we're talking about is standardized testing. And one other point to make with regard to the objection. The objection of these superintendents and these school boards is really that there was this commission that was developed to study this problem. And the commission has not given their report yet, but now we've got this HB, whatever it is, 141, that's been introduced that essentially is going to make their work of no consequence. So I think that's what the school boards are concerned about.
Well, you know, in my opinion, I think we way over-test our kids. We overstress the kids in the classroom, and they get the performance anxiety, and when we're looking at losing, you know, several weeks during a school year to standardized testing, I think that's unfair. It's unfair to the teachers. We're losing classroom time.
And we teach to the test.
And we teach to the test, and that's really we're teaching to the test because Common Core exists, or if it was not Common Core, it's No Child Left Behind, or whatever mandate DC decides.
Whatever the next guy comes up with.
Exactly.
Trump University.
There you go. That won't be free tuition.
You heard it here. You heard it here first. I know you're a big Trump supporter, Jane. No comment.
No comment. And I think it goes back to, okay, what's the effectiveness of these testings? How long have we been doing these testings, and is it making a difference? Is it improving the education? Are students now, graduates now, in a better place and scoring higher internationally than they were 20 years ago? And I can tell you, based on my history of working for an education software company that was focused on STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, we're not even in the top 20 countries around the world. If you look at 8th grade, where we score for math and where we score for science, our numbers, our levels are on average not even in the top 20 countries in the world.
Well, I hate to say this, but I think at some point these tests are a political benchmark meant to measure us against our other states in the union, other districts in our state. Again, I just don't see the benefit. I don't see the utility in all these tests.
Well, part of the idea behind the test was being able to do the handoff. Okay, if I move my family to Arizona, they would have an idea of where my kids were placed when we go to school in Arizona, so they could pick up where. I don't see where that, you know, yes, they may be stronger in some subjects, not as strong as others. But the only thing we have to do is reflect upon where our education system was back 40, 50, 60 years ago. We were the pinnacle of education in the world. And now we're trailing. If we're above 30, and we're scarcely above 30 in math and language and science. We're one of the most powerful countries in the world, and we can't get our kids to easily solve a problem of what 10 divided into 100 is without spending an entire sheet of paper doing Common Core math. There's a problem here. There's a disconnect. And then now we're teaching to the test. Teachers became teachers because they want to communicate with their students, enlighten the minds, push the students further, and become better. And we are now pigeonholing them to, okay, well, for you to reach your incentive, for your bonus, for you to pass on the students to the next grade, they need to score this. That's not fair to the teachers.
And about the test, and it's studying for the test, it's not retained anyways.
Right.
And the whole point of having an education, whether it's high school or an advanced degree, is about learning the materials so that you can apply whatever it is you learn to actually what you're doing in everyday life. So it was, you know, I remember the one time I was getting my hair colored and the hairstylist was standing there talking to someone she was training, and she was doing fractions math. She was doing multiplication of fractions as she's standing there talking to the person. Didn't have any paper, wasn't calculator, you know, figuring anything out. She was just calculating it in her head. And because she learned it in school, how to do, because I think fraction math scares most people.
Well, only thing you have to do is go to a fast food restaurant and give them exact change, okay? And you're going to get a look of confusion on the face of the person you give the money to. It really concerns me. You know, when my son was graduating, he did very good in math. I think he scored a 1590 on the old form of the SATs. So he did good in both math and English. He had a $200 graphing calculator. When I was in high school, we weren't allowed a calculator. Now, he took far more advanced math than what I did. But, how many things are we allowing into the classroom that maybe relies less upon their aptitude and more upon how to do an input into a computer?
Well, I think one of the things that Dr. Wilcox has really pushed in our school system is the fact that in the business world, the students as employees or employers are going to have access to the technology, and we need to remember a different set of things than we did 15 years ago. I think that's imperative to know, and I think that now all the kids have iPads. Mm-hmm. Is that a bad thing? That would have been cheating when I was in school. Now we supply it.
I'm not against technology in the classroom as it's smartly applied. I think Dr. Wilcox is doing that. The program, he's worked with the teachers to try to get something put together that's really positive and moving forward and progressive. What I question is we have spent so much time teaching to the test. Okay, we've eliminated art programs from schools.
Right. We're limiting the teaching time in favor of the test. And that's like a business closing their books out every week, not once a month or once a quarter, because they want to measure their progress more frequently. And not only do we do it at the local level, but we do it at the state level and we do it at the national level. So we've got all these layers of standardized testing that chew up weeks of instructional time that could be used otherwise.
We have cursive writing that is no longer in school. I've seen a couple posts on Facebook. I'm going to really fool them in the old age home. We're going to have a secret code. I'm going to write in cursive, okay, and no one's going to understand it. But we take time away and we're too focused on tests. Teachers giving tests are one thing, but all the mandatory tests I think really are a burden on there.
Okay. Final comment?
I'm good. Get rid of the tests.
Okay. Up next, Maryland has a budget, but at what cost? Stay tuned for that report.